Well, I asked you those questions a couple of weeks ago and I got plenty of responses. Today, we're going to go through some of those responses and I'm going to share a few of my own. So, the two main features of FM22 that were released, most of the people I've spoken to, they enjoy these two new features, including me, the Data Hub and the Deadline Day. Now, most of the other things that people liked about Football Manager 22, well, some of these features were actually in 21. Things like training is being a lot more organic, the ability to turn off replays or opposition goals, and changing lineups for the next match only. Now, a lot of these small little things have been in the game, and people love these quality of life changes, and that's fantastic. For me personally speaking, I think Football Manager 22, while I do have my own personal dislikes, they aren't game breaking. Right? More to do with immersion. And of course, one aspect of the game I wish would improve is AI squad management. Because right now, if you go into the game, reputation seems to play a big part in AI squad management. Why? In the early stages of the game, the AI seems to favor players with high reputation, right? So they play them until they're like 36 years old. What does this do? It creates a vicious cycle. Younger players with lower reputations who might have great potential don't get really played in those teams. And then their development suffers. The older players stay in the game. So AI squad management, in a sense, gets a bit wonky. I don't know how else to describe it. It's not ideal. That's the first thing. That in itself creates a vicious cycle because you have to wait for the entire class of players that we have right now to retire. Then you get all Nugents, right? But then when you get to the Nugent phase, the same thing happens again, right? So you get all the high rep players who were able to play, right? Then they stay at the top and they don't retire. So we get this whole thing happening in the game, and it affects the way the AI manages their squads, manages their tactics. And I think that should be something that SI should address in the next version of the game. I think that is on my list as the top thing that they should deal with. Because let's face it, I mean, I want to play against an AI that does things properly, right? I mean, like, you get players with high potential, you play them. You try. This is how we play the game. When we have players with great potential, what do? We rotate them into the squad. We give them game time, and eventually they develop. And our model of management, leads to longevity. Our teams become very strong. When we reach that point in the game becomes too easy. And then we know that the AI doesn't do this. It creates a problem. And I think SI should do something about this, because this for me is right at the top of the list of things that they need to address in FM23. Now, there are other areas of the game that they should address. I mean, one of them is transfer negotiations. Now, I can sell players. Don't get me wrong. I think selling a players isn't that difficult in the game. But what I don't like is a bit of the lowballing that goes on. What I mean by lowballing, when you want to sell a player, the AI counters with a non-negotiable offer. Sometimes you want to buy a player, it's a non-negotiable offer. Why are there so many non-negotiable offers in the game? What's the point of having negotiations if most of the negotiations are non-negotiable? I can understand if non-negotiable refers to just the transfer fee. Maybe the club doesn't have enough money, or maybe the club only wants to accept a certain amount of money. That I can accept. But when it comes to loans, they're also non-negotiable. This I don't understand. Why are loans sometimes non-negotiable? We should have the capacity to negotiate with the AI. This aspect of the game needs to improve. AI negotiation on contracts, AI negotiation for transfers, they have to improve in the game. These are the two things that I want to see addressed in FM23 above all else. Because when it comes to the other features of the game, we can talk about the set piece creator, right? I personally hate the set piece creator. I don't even bother with set pieces anymore. Why? Because indirect wide free kicks, go to the far post, tall meaty man at the far post, hits it in, goal. It happens. You can't run away from it. It's like a given goal. Halfway line, playing a top heavy system, are you? Okay, good. Half your team is attacking. They take a throw in from the halfway line. Half your team is not bothered to come back. I mean, come on, seriously. I mean, the players closer to the throw-in area should be moving there. So these are things that I think SI need to address as far as set pieces are concerned. right? The immediate ones. Then we have the other thing about set pieces, and this is where we enter the realm of I don't think they can get it done in FM23 because it requires a new set piece creator that has got its own module separate from the match engine, and then they got to bring it back into the match engine. The amount of coding required is just boggling. I don't even want to go there. So for that, I'm looking at SI doing something that is no longer tied to positions, for example. So whenever I set throw-ins, maybe I want John to come short all the time. Maybe I want Alan Friedman to go to the far post all the time. But when I change my tactics right now, those set piece routines are forgotten. So perhaps set pieces by players rather than positions should be the way forward. Of course, then we have other areas where the set pieces come into play. Maybe for some of us, I think this idea might take a while for it to germinate and then, of course, grow. And that is being able to visualize and plan set piece training, meaning, okay, I want to set up my set pieces in such a way because I'm playing against a team that's short. Okay, for next week's game, we want to do this. So we train it on the training ground. We do all these things. And then I want to see these routines being presented to me, right, via some kind of visual interface. Yeah, maybe. But these kind of suggestions, I got it from you guys. I don't know if SI is going to implement it in 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. That's just way too far into the future. That I don't see happening. So I think there are elements of this game that need to be improved. I mean, the match engine is always improving. Don't get me wrong. I think it's good that it has a different flavor every time we're playing. This year, narrow was in. Last year, wide was there. Some days it's balanced. You know, it can be wide, it can be narrow. Yeah, okay, fine. That is great because it goes with the flavor, right? That's fine. But there's one area of the game that I think SI also need to address. And it's got to do with player dynamics. Now, some of you came in and you guys mentioned to me that player dynamics, fantastic. You love player dynamics. And I was going, hang on a minute. Have you guys forgotten player promises? Because when you want to sign a player, he wants a promise to be made, right? So you want to put his name down on the dotted line before he goes there. He tells you, hey, you know what? If I'm going to play for you, I need you to go get me some attackers. And you go like, okay, I've already got some attackers coming in. Maybe be happy. After he joins, you'll see that there are two or three new strikers in the team. He joins the club. The next thing you know, he comes up to you. You broke your promise. And I'm going like, hell, man, I did sign 2 or 3. What's wrong with you? And he goes like, that doesn't count, man. So how do these promises work? Do they work after the fact, only after he comes into the club? I think that too needs to be addressed. So player promises, in a way, it's a bit wonky at the moment. So I would like player promises to be tweaked as well. Now, overall, I think the game is heading in the right direction. Of course, my points of view are my points of view. There are going to be people out there who believe that certain other features of the game are much more important. I respect all points of view. I don't think there is anything substantially wrong with the game, right? I think whatever is going to be done to the game are going to be improvements to the game. I mean, I keep playing this game. That says a lot. Yeah, I've been playing this game forever, man. It's way too easy to find Wonder Kids in the game. Like, I already showed you the 3-step Wonder Kid search filter, right? So that is super easy, okay? An area of the game I think that we should address is going to be the skin as well. Here, this is where we walk into should we or should we not, okay? Why is that the case? When you go into the game, you got a default skin, right? A lot of the panels you can adjust. Then you go and download the skin. Wow, suddenly the panels you can adjust, you can call up all kinds of different kinds of information. Phenomenal. Okay, why doesn't SI do this? They can't, because if they were to introduce a modular skin, then there will be so many permutations out there they need to test. So there's going to be like 100, I don't know how many, if that skin has got 5 panels, just that page alone, they're going to have to test 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 permutations, right? And then you're going to go like, oh my God, it's 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, okay? So they're going to have to test all those permutations just for that one page alone, so you can see where that's going. So what do they need to address as far as the skin is concerned? Okay, we've got the skin here, right? We've got a Tato skin. Tato skin is great. It's got this, all these panels. Yeah, fine. I like this. I like this. Okay, it's got all the information there. But SI will have to test every single bit. Like, you know, if you come here and you click this, maybe the game crashes. SI has to do that too. So which is the reason why this is a lot of work for little gain. So modding area will still remain the same. So skins are still going to be popular. What I want SI to do is actually, okay, this is where people are going to debate about the game. SI love the way the in-game match highlights statistics are being shown right now. So if you want to get more detailed information, wait till halftime. That's what happens in real life. Coaches come in and say the same thing. You know, they don't get all this kind of information until it's halftime. Okay, fair enough. I get their argument. Okay, but here's my counter. We're not sitting there for 90 minutes watching the game like those guys are. So they can see things for 90. No, we are just playing in our key highlights. So our situation is a bit more different. So what they have is like home stats and away stats, right? But when you try to expand that view, you can't. So my suggestion to SI is this: take the dugout, remove it, put it in as a panel that you can call up during the game, and then allow us to expand the home and away stats full screen. So allow us just that modular ability or that modular capability for in-game highlights. That's it. Give that to us, and maybe that could be a happy middle ground for a lot of us. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Meanwhile, you guys stay safe, stay healthy. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.